quick update on the old 55 here. Thumper just put a new starter in it because the other starter took a crap on me out there in Moab. It barely fired up to get on the trailer, but it fired up and went on the trailer. Now, the night before we left, before Rory got up next to me, we were driving down the road, and I was like, man, the thing sounds funny. It sounds like it's missing. Sounds like it's not doing very good. And pretty sure it failed some plugs. As soon as Rory got up next to me, I started revving the truck, and, you know, we were hot rodding, hot dogging, and all that stuff. And the truck wouldn't respond real well. It would barely spin the tire, so it lost a lot of power, and it was making a weird noise. So I'm kind of thinking, I felt some plugs for sure, but I think I knocked a rocker arm off or a push rod off. So I might have to tear into that here in a little bit. Thumper just put a new starter in it, but the truck still looks good, so that's good. But truck was sitting a little too long for me to be mean to it, I guess. I wanted some attention, or more attention, so every time I drive this thing, I'm mean to it, so I don't blame it. I'm not mad at it. But yeah, I think I got something going on internally. Hopefully not. Hopefully it's good. If not, we'll have to be pulling this motor out at some point, but we'll save that for another day. We're all back here dreaming now. Look what I just got. Should we build it? A little rat rod or something? I don't like calling them rat rods, but...
Well, we gotta lift up
there.
Slider in there.
She's complete. Suicide front end. Oh no, it's all right. I can see it.
You get the idea.
I get the idea. Look at that thing. I was gonna make a truck out of it, but now I'm thinking we leave it to four doors.
The Essex was the first one to have blinkers.
The Essex was?
Yeah, they were the first.
1927.
The first one to have those marker lights for the blinkers.
I didn't know that. That's cool, Mikey.
We just found that out yesterday.
Oh, really?
Yeah, when Thumper was looking it up.
Yeah, right here, look. It says Essex. Essex Motors, which was a division of Hudson, right?
Idea.
Essex was bought up by Hudson.
Oh, okay.
So, we built the same grill here.
Uh-huh.
It's shut until you drive it, and then it opens.
Oh, yeah.
Like old Ram
We could do that, yeah.
Like the air grabber.
This side looks cooler.
cool,
It's got
man.
the tires.
Grill.
Yeah, once it has some vacuum, it opens it up.
Yeah, so I've been accumulating parts. I've known about having this car for a while. We just went and got it. But I got a couple of drop front ends here that we can put on it. We got some Kragers. We got fat Kragers here. I don't know if I'll run Kragers, but I have them. I like them with the top off.
I like them with their top off, too.
But I would leave the top off of it. I would make it metal plate blue.
You know what?
Traditional hot rod, man.
If it was me,
If it was me, it was traditional hot rod. But it's cool. No matter what we do, it's cool.
I even like how simple the dash is. If it was yours, what?
it'd be better than this.
It'd be there. If you had one.
If I had one.
Well, you don't.
What a jerk face.
You don't.
He's got a Hudson in 1949. He's got a Hudson Hornet.
Yeah, his is better. It can be dry.
Commodore, and it runs and drives.
The Pompadour.
The Pompadour.
Wait, you hear that? It does run dry.
Yeah. Yeah.
Pompadour Hornet.
Maybe put a Cummins? No Cummins. Small block Chevy.
4B.
Big block Ford. Big block Ford. Small block Ford. Small block Chevy. LS swap it? What I was gonna say is, this car with this elephant motor in here is literally built around this engine. Really sweet job the guys did with this thing. It's got aeromotive stuff on it. This thing is one sweet little ride here and runs really, really good. Getting it figured out, Thump?
Sadly, I didn't think I was going to come to class 10 until today.
You're gonna do it all around here, buddy. We do it all.
Do it all.
We do it all.
You can't do it, then.
Yeah. If you can't do it, then what are you here for?
Exactly. I gotta learn. You gotta take your chances. So I'm spraying that in there. This is just Dawn dish soap mixed with some water. Got a little plastic pry tool, working my way around that rubber, spraying this in here to lube it up so that way when it comes out, it's not stuck binding, because I've heard and in videos I've watched about doing this, I hear that it's real easy to bust these windows, so I'm using this to prevent that.
Yes, they crack very easy.
Very. Old flat glass.
What are you working on, young sir?
I'm gonna break into your new,
Oh, he's using all my new stuff.
brand new.
I cleaned yours.
I know, but I want a smaller one.
Cut it in half.
Should I? You want me to?
No, I'm kidding.
I can do it.
He will too. He gets mad.
I've done it before.
That's my brand new stash from Harbor Freighter. That's the one? That's the one. Who's it, Vanna White?
Vanna White. Give it an A.
Give me an A. What's up, everybody? Going along on this 47 Merc, and we had a couple little repairs to do right here. You can see some of the sanding scratches because I hit it with 80 with a long block first. Now, one of the things that I kind of wanted to talk about was there's a big controversy on you know, little block, flexible block on round corners. Obviously 40s cars are very round, very difficult to deal with. What I have always found is a long straight block like we always use, like the 12 footer or the 12 footer. Like the 12 footer or the 12 footer. Like the 10 inch, the 12 inch block is what I blocked this out with. There was just some ripples in it, just a little bit that was in it before. I think I got it out now. Now we're gonna wet sand it after we sealed it and primed it. And one of the big controversies that I hear online is, you know, and I'm not saying, you know, product names to put anybody down, but like Big Kid blocks come to mind. They're a flexible block with 2 handles. And I think something like that is good if you already have the bodywork straight. Like, and if you want to just kind of go back over it with the flexible block, that's fine. What happens and works for me is this is one of George's blocks, but it is just a little bit flexible. It's round. Most of the bodywork is already straight. So once you start moving it in every direction, because this is round, it's rounded this way, it's rounded this way, it's rounded in every direction. Got the bodywork. What I'm saying is I got the bodywork pretty lined out with the longer straight block. Now I can go through and wet sand, and when I say I hit it in every direction, I mean round and round, which is a big controversy. Everybody says you got to do, you know, X's, which I do. We do it all the time. But I also do O's, so X's and O's, something like this. I'm gonna do everything. That way I hit it from every direction. You know, I'm gonna hit it this way, even this way. This way is really gonna cut. That's gonna give you your most cut, and then around and round, obviously, is probably the best way that I have seen and what works for me, and it does work for me. I've done stuff like this where it's round and it's come out flawless. But to me, the really soft blocks, or you know, the curvy blocks that are really soft, don't work, at least for me. Maybe they work for other people. To make something straight and smooth, you gotta have something, you know, flat, and that's really it. Like I can't, like this is still a pretty stiff block. It will curve a little bit, but not much. And it's just wrapped in some 400 right now. I'm just wet sanding it. And like I said, I go up and down a lot, but I take a longer stroke when I go up and down, side to side, and then round and round. You know, I cover a lot of distance while I'm doing it. A lot of distance. And George agreed with me. I mean, this is his block. He was like, here, let's use this block on this. And because I have one just like that, but it's a little too soft. And that's what I told him. He was like, no, I have a harder one. It'll be perfect for that. And as you can see how we're getting some dark spots here, 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 and here. It's starting to cut it out, and I'm guaranteeing you it's gonna cut it out straight and smooth. All right, I ain't gonna quit until it does, but I'm more than sure I'll be able to get it all out and knocked out right now. Just, you know, in about 15 minutes of just wet sanding this trunk area. So just something I wanted to talk about. I think the soft and the curved blocks do have their place if the bodywork is already pretty close, to me. That's just my opinion. Let me know in the comments. To me, a longer and straighter, you know, harder block will cut down the high spots and get you where you need to be, as long as you're moving that block in every which direction there is. And that's exactly what I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna show you guys right now. And like I said, we're just going up and down, around and around, just holding it flat. It does flex a little bit, but not much. Like, it's still pretty stiff. And like I said, I take the longer strokes. Now we're gonna do some X's. I'm gonna do some X's. And we're gonna do some O's. I'm gonna keep it wet. And I'm betting you this is gonna come out really nice right now. And there was just a few little high and low spots that this trunk had in it that we found, along with the passenger door has the same thing going on. We'll block that later. We did find a little bit of a weird spot or a dip in it also. So now, you know, going back and forth. Most of the hard cutting body work was done with 80 grit. Now I'm going back. Now we sealed it and primered it a couple times with some primer sealer, our U-pole that we always use. And I'm gonna bet you that just moving every direction, every single direction, back and forth on something round like this is what cuts right here. Because that block is flat, you're cutting that edge wherever that block is. So I'd be real careful, real light when I go side to side like that, real fast. And then I go back to more of a longer stride, if you will. And side to side cutting, and then around and round, round and round, round and round. On anything round like this is what has always worked for me. All right, now let's squeegee. I'm just gonna squeegee this down. Okay. And we'll shine it up a little bit. You can see all of our dark spots have gone away. All of our dark spots have gone away. Probably should have used a different product other than just water, but as you can see, that is getting really uniform. I'm not seeing anything where we were sanding. I haven't sanded down here so much. I've been sanding right here, and right here is the actual problem. Right here, there was just the slightest dip. So as you can see, sometimes there is a method to my madness. I don't know everything, but I'm telling you right now that that's gonna work out pretty good. So I'm gonna keep doing that. We're gonna do it to all of the fenders. We're gonna do it to anything that's round. If we got the bodywork close, we'll use something like this that'll flex just a little bit, but we're gonna move in every single direction, long stride. And it always works for me. I've never had one not come out. You have to work at it sometimes, you have to do it a few times, but they usually will come out nice, round, slick, and smooth.
Proof's in the pudding. Look at the Plymouth, that was pretty wavy, and now it's dang straight, because I used his methods.
Yeah, proof in the pudding. So, and they're not my methods, you know. They've been handed down to me, and even George said this is how I would do it. He said I would do it just like that. So George isn't here today. He still has a business to run. They're out moving cars and stuff. He has his own deal going on, but we love it when he's here, and I appreciate you guys, Mikey, George.
I miss him.
I do miss them. It's kind of quiet in here today.
It's weird. It feels incomplete.
All right, I'll catch you guys in a bit. Once again, I'm not doing any light pressure, just moving back and forth, working it around and around. Every single direction. Like I said earlier, I already hard blocked it with a longer block. So I think I got it pretty straight. Now this is just gonna take the tops of stuff that I missed. Just keeping it wet, keeping it moving. One of the most crucial spots is the trunk, because it's one of the biggest parts of the car and what everybody sees. Just like the hood, I always take special care of the hood because you're looking down at it the whole time you're driving. You want to see it look like glass. All right, so the same thing transpires no matter you're doing it round and round, side to side on something round. There's the original paint there that's scuffed down. There's the original paint there. I have a low spot there, and I got original paint there. So I can sand just a hair more out of there, but not much. So probably gonna have to come back through and skim these areas. I'm gonna keep sanding right here. Like I said, it don't take long. It's only been a few minutes. And so obviously we got a high there, but we can't go any further. I don't want to go down to bare metal or nothing. This car's got some really nice bodywork already done to it. And all we're doing is just repairing some of the low spots and obviously the damage, but that's it. So we don't want to distort anything that's already been done. So we are going to have to come back through and repair just the tiniest skim coat right here. And then I'm going to keep sanding, keep working my way around, hit these fenders and everything. Thumper sanding on the front of the car, and we're just going to keep on going. That's all we can do. So I'm going to stay away from those areas, keep working over here until I see that I can't go anymore. Then we'll know exactly where we need to fix it and where the highs and lows are. This trunk did have some highs and lows all through it right here. That's why we had to make the repairs that we did. They weren't super noticeable, but we could see them. And then once we put the long or the hard block on it, you could really see them show up. Now we're just gonna find them with the guide coat. Guide coat is everything. As you can see, I love this primer. As you can see, we got scratches from where I hit it with 80, but it's filling them up. Once we sand that smooth, they will no longer be there. That's why we use the thick high build primer. Thick high build primer, sealer on everything. That's why we use it, because those scratches will be gone, and this will be, as long as it blocks out straight, this panel is done, finished, and it's sealed and done. We don't have to do anything else to it. All right, as I'm going, shaping the, well, this is already shaped, but as I'm going and sanding the bottom of the fender here, I got some highs and lows going on. So you can see the dark spots are some of the lows. I'm gonna try and get some of those out, but unfortunately I think they might have to be reworked and just skimmed a little bit. Not much, but just a little. That had to have always been there because we haven't worked right here. We just worked right here, just a little bit in here. So as we're going along, we did uncover one on the door also. George was going along, so he's got it circled right here. There's a low spot right in here on the door. As we're going along, you know, now that we're flat blocking everything and wet sanding this thing, getting it really ready, we're starting to uncover just little tiny things. The bodywork on this car is really, really good, like I said. Actually pretty impressed that the guy did it in his garage, so that's awesome. But anyways, we're gonna keep on going. Like all these curves and stuff just really need to be hit very delicately and just make sure we're taking our time and doing it. But yeah, it's starting to rain and the weather's been crazy here, making my back hurt. So just taking it easy today and wet sanding and getting this thing ready to roll.